Hello everyone, you're most welcome once again. So today we are going to explore about leavening agent. If you are just producing breads as well as cakes, but you want them to rise, you want them to puff up, there is something that you need to know about, which is leavening agent. Maybe you are using this and uh, that you are going to see here, but you are not aware how it works. You are using yeast, you are using baking powder or whatever, but you still don't know how it works until you see this video. If you are using yeast as well as baking powder and etc., you need to watch this video. Maybe you are using them blindly without the informations of how it works. I'm going to break down everything about leavening agent so that you can know if you are using this yeast, what type of yeast you are using. If you are using that yeast, what type of yeast you are using. So stay with me. Let's explore about leavening agent together. Let's go. We are going to start by definition. When we say leavening agent, before I start, what do you understand? Thank you for your idea. So leavening agent are substances that makes dough or butter rise. It means it expand, it enlarge, it changes the dough or butter size from small to large, that is rise. So by producing gas, bubbles for soft and fluffy of baked good. Leavening agent produce gases, bubbles for softness and fluffiness of baked goods. When something is soft, it means something is not hard, something is not firm. It is very soft, like a pillow. Do you know pillow? Check your pillow on your bed and tell me. That is softness. When something is fluffy, it means something is light. It is light and airy. So depending on how this gas works, it also result in texture of this baked good. Texture can be soft and fluffy because this gas bubbles produced by leavening agent. Let's break down the different types of leavening agent. Here they say types of leavening agents. Let's see the types. Some leavening agents works biologically. I'm sorry, my marker is exhausted, so I need to switch to the blue one. I'm coming. Like I was saying, some leavening agent works biologically. It means this involves life. It means this involves what? Life. So other works chemically. It means there is chemical reactions within this chemical leavening agent. There is chemical reaction. There is also leavening agents that works physically or mechanically. We are going to explore all of them. Maybe you are using yeast, or you are using baking powder, baking soda, or other kind of leavening agent, but you still don't know how to differentiate it. You still don't know how every leavening agent or leavening agent works. So I'm here to help you. Stay with me. So let's start with that leavening agent works biologically. Biologically, you have yeast. Yeast contain bacteria. You know bacteria is a living organism. Even though it is invisible to the eyes, but still it is living organism. Bacteria. So this bacteria works with carbon dioxide gas and then helps bread rise. Bacteria works together with carbon dioxide gas to ferment a dough. So during fermentation, it is where yeast do its magic. It is where yeast do its work and then lies the dough. This is where this soft and fluffiness texture of baked good comes from, fermentation. So fermentation is under yeast activity. There is different types of yeast. Yeah, I want you to pay attention to this. There is different types of yeast. In yeast, we have different types, different categories, different yeast that we use every day. We use this yeast every day, but some of us don't know how to differentiate them. Let's start with this first one, which is active dry yeast. Active dry yeast. This is a type of yeast which require prior activation or pre-activation. It means you need to activate it before using it. Before mixing it with other ingredients, you need to activate it. To activate this yeast, you can use any liquid. That can be water or milk. And this liquid you are using to activate this yeast must be warm, not too hot and not too cold, because when water is too hot, it kills yeast completely. When water is too cold, it weakens yeast. So it means this yeast to be activated, it needs warm water. Warm water. Warm water sometimes with sugar, because sugar is a best friend of yeast. Sugar is a best friend of yeast because with sugar, yeast survive. With sugar, yeast survive because yeast eat sugar. Yeah, it eat sugar. So sometimes you need to mix yeast, warm water and sugar so that you can activate it before start using this active dry yeast. By just mixing it with sugar and warm water, and then let it sit for 10 minutes until it bubbles. Until it what? It bubbles. Until it bubbles and form. So that was active dry yeast. Let's continue with instant yeast. When we say instant, it means in no time. Instant, it means there is no need to wait. Use it as you start, use it as you go. It doesn't require prior activation like this active dry yeast. You can use instant yeast just as you are going. Mix it with other ingredients directly and start just mixing. That's about instant yeast. But still it is also dry. This instant yeast is dry, and most of this yeast have small granules, have small crystals. But this active dry yeast has big granules, big crystals comparing to this instant yeast. This one is finer, it has finer granules or finer crystals. It is very small, but however this is big comparing to this instant. There is also fresh yeast. Fresh yeast. Fresh yeast is in the form of block. It is in the form of block, and it is still fresh. Fresh living yeast, living organisms that helps dough rises. This fresh yeast needs to be broken down. As long as it is in the form of block, it needs to be broken down and then be mixed with warm water before mixing it with flour. You need to break it into small because it is in the form of blocks. Mix it with warm water and then mix it with flour. That is what we can say about fresh yeast. Also, this yeast need to be kept cold. This one need to be kept cold. You need to keep this fresh yeast in the fridge and use it like in 1 to 7 days. It is still active. The last one is wild yeast. Wild yeast or natural yeast. This is a type of yeast that are made naturally. Water and flour. You need water and flour to make this wild yeast. Wild yeast is made by mixing flour and water with the same amount. Maybe you can use 100 grams flour plus 100 grams of water. Mix it and then let it sit for several days, and you need to feed it. You need to feed it as you go so that you can just create a white yeast. White yeast works naturally. It is made naturally. It is found in sourdough starter. Sourdough starter. Sourdough starter. Starter like this. Sourdough. Make sure that you are using the same amount of flour with the same amount of water. Mix it and then let it sit for several days. So you are creating a starter which will have a white yeast or natural yeast. You can call it white yeast, it depends on your choice. Choose one name and then call it this type of yeast: white, natural, lave, sourdough culture. Pick one name, there is no problem, and then call it this kind of yeast. This is called a ground stone, a pillar for sour bread. Without a starter, there is no sour bread. So it's all about types of yeast. Let's continue. Let's see how yeast works. Here they say yeast eats sugar. It eats sugar, and then after eating sugar, it produces carbon dioxide gas. Carbon dioxide gas, which helps dough rise. Yeast eats sugar and then produce carbon dioxide gas that rises the dough. Let's see the example of yeast-based product. Among the examples, you can say breads and the pizza's base. Pizza base, it's just a pizza dough, you understand? So this is how yeast works. This is all about yeast. This is what you can know about yeast. And also this is what we need to know about yeast. So I hope you understand this. Let's continue with